Hi everyone, welcome to my review of Jordan Peele's Us from this year. So yes, here we are, and finally I must announce my 4K TV is back and fixed. So yes, we have a 4K Blu-ray here, and I watched it last night for the first time. This film, of course, came out this year. Us, and this is, I think for most people, I guess, it's going to be a film that everyone's looking forward to in some way. Most people mainly, because Jordan Peele, of course, clearly with Get Out, impressed a lot of people, me included, of course. I think that film, is just is the reason I'm always going to be interested in a Jordan Peele film. No matter what, I kind of hear about it beforehand. I think I'm always going to be interested in seeing a film from him, and maybe the potential of it being a great film because Get Out, is just such a remarkable film in my opinion. I love that film so much personally. I know not a lot of people. It's kind of maybe a divisive at times, that film, and not everyone loves the film. But I personally do, and I think it's just one of the best horror films. Of the century, absolutely. Daniel Kaluuya as well, so good in that film. A wonderful film, and for a debut feature film, directorial debut, it's just really something else. Something of course he should be proud of, and everyone has been, so many people been, kind of just wowed by the film. But this film, it's definitely an interesting one as well, and it's one that it's done very well critically, and stuff. Maybe not so much, checking the IMDb score for the first time actually. The other day, it's very a 6.9 actually. So yeah, very interesting, kind of split, you could say, between audiences and critics. But that was just an interesting thing. I didn't really know anything going into this film, and yeah, spoilers alert. We'll be getting into the plot. I can kind of we'll give this review a go. We'll try and review this film, kind of thing, because it's a film that I couldn't review on the night. Watching it last night because I was kind of scratching my head a little bit, kind of thing, and yeah, it's a weird film, and I think with respect, and I do appreciate it's a unique film once again, and just it's his film. I always respect that, and I did like the film, but I was somewhat disappointed. Personally, I'll just say now, and I just don't. Yeah, I think there's a lot of this film, the way it comes together, especially the directions it goes, that I didn't really care for too much, and just didn't connect to as much as I thought it would. And considering how great the standout first act is, and and stuff, and how much it compelled me, how much I was loving this film. Yes, loving this film. This family, just a really peaceful family. Just so enjoyable. Wow, so enjoyable. The portrayal here, near enough, kind of. I didn't have too many flaws with the film at all up until the 40-minute mark, and then it started to kind of show itself really, in many regards. And certainly by the end of the film, when that reveal happened, at the end, and you learn many things here, all at once really. That's when I kind of started thinking, this is certainly definitely disappointed me, unfortunately. And it just doesn't. I think it's quite an inconsistent film, and it's just what I thought the film would be. At first, throughout, it just wasn't, and it turns into, unfortunately, with all respect, more of a slasher film than a psychological horror thriller mystery kind of thing here, family kind of film, and which is fine, per se, on paper, but I don't think that sort of thing appeals to me as much really as what it was at first and what Get Out is. That's such a good film. But slasher films, maybe as a kid I did, I watched quite a few, but just what I love about cinema, it really takes some filmmaker and some kind of special event to elevate a slasher film to a masterpiece really. And all the best ones for me, either I don't consider slashers, like Psycho, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, really, that's more of a madness portrayal there. That's something else. That's a high art, that one. But yeah, or they can just be ones that really do something different, and unique. And Nightmare on Elm Street, of course, that's considered the slasher, and you know, I probably would consider it that, but it's so much more, and it's more psychological. It's dreams. It's everything. It's so amazing, that film. But this film, kind of after the 40-minute mark, it does become mostly, you know, it has unique stuff and everything. And you know, it's definitely an out there plot, kind of thing, if you will. But it does mostly become a kind of slasher film, which yeah, uh, I'll say that, you know, in itself, I don't, you know, like as much, you know, most of the time, but it's just as well that the choices within this whole story here, that just really had me kind of just kind of taken aback, and I was just thinking, really, you know, that's a shame. I would say, you know, it's just a shame that it went that way. You know, just to me, you know, personally connecting to this whole, yeah, we'll get into it. You know, this film, of course, you know, Lupita Nyong'o is absolutely stunning in this film. She is amazing, and of course, yes, no doubt, in 12 Years a Slave, you know, she is just masterful in that film. She's clearly a great, great actress. Wow, you know, really, really amazing, of course. And in this film, she's great as well. You know, she really, really is. And of course, spoilers review being, you know, as we know, she gives, you know, two performances really, the two different sides. You know, as we know, the plot of the film is Santa Cruz, and you know, kind of the beach here, and yeah, basically you see at the beginning it's 1986. It was, and you know, she's a little girl there, and she goes off from her parents, goes into this fun house, and it had me interested here, and it's just really great scene there, and then you know she kind of goes into this. It's described as the Hall of Mirrors, and then she sees, you know, what we basically believe to be herself, and you don't see the other version, but you just see her reaction. And then, you know, you jump ahead, and you've got this family. She is the mother of the family at this point, present day, and then, you know, they go, somehow, you know, you know, it had me kind of thinking, why is that? You know, this is an interesting film, because the husband, Gabe, you know, he's basically persuading them to go on a, you know, kind of holiday to this location where it happened, basically, as a kid. And you know, I was kind of thinking, why, you know, if she was so traumatized and stuff, would she even just kind of give in that way? Kind of, she hesitated, of course, but then, you know, she definitely gave in quicker than maybe you'd expect. And then, of course, they go there. The rest of the film is them there, and you know, stuff happens. And yes, as we know, you know, there's different versions of themselves come to the house, terrorize them, and then, you know, they come into the house, and it all goes kind of different ways from then on. You know, that's the thing. And what I loved about the first act is just it was so subtle in its kind of you know, the mystery of this, and how it was just her. You know, that was kind of affected by this, you know, seeing herself, and then, you know, she didn't talk and all this kind of stuff. And you know, maybe just then, you know, the family, that's great. You know, maybe they've got different versions of themselves. But then, you know, when you get to the fact that everyone else has a version of themselves, you know, kind of thing, that's when it kind of gets me really confused with why that happened. Really, you know, that's when it becomes it just starts to go downhill, I think, and then, you know, it does turn into a slasher. You know, at times a little bit not that enjoyable really for me. Other times, you know, I do enjoy it, and there's a peak just after, you know, many killings for about half an hour, literally, just people getting, you know, brutally killed. You know, I didn't really care for the scene when, you know, that kind of you know, Gabe's friends, basically, that family there, the two daughters, the way they got killed, I just didn't like that. Personally, I think I was just kind of, that's quite a cold scene, and I didn't really like that too much. I kind of thought, you know, this is kind of, it's falling into them, you know, the modern horror kind of ways of just, you know, the stuff I don't really care for personally as much. With all respect, I don't like that kind of stuff as much, and just the way that was done, maybe a bit indulgent, and stuff. And I just think, yeah, it was quite over the top as well. The acting of them people, you know, this family, the main family, are just, there's not a single performance that isn't great. You know, just so good. You know, and just really, really, you know, amazing here. Winston Duke was so good in the film. He is such Gabe, you know, is such a likable character, very humorous, and then, you know, it kind of goes off. You know, they don't really have too much dialogue between themselves for most of the rest of the film. And you know, I was thinking, wow, you know, an hour in, for about 20 minutes, people have been getting killed, they've been getting chased and stuff. And I was thinking, is this going to be the rest of the film? You know, kind of thing, because I was so impressed with the first kind of act of the film, first 40 minutes. Even when they came into the house, it was a bit kind of campy and stuff. When she started talking, you know, this version Red, you know, of our main protagonist, you know, and I was thinking maybe a bit too full on there, but you know, it's definitely still a psychological, you know, sort of thing in this vein, and it's something that, you know, I really wanted to see what happened next. But then, you know, when I learned that everyone else has got a version of themselves, why did this, you know, this is the questions I had, you know, why is this going big scale, you know, global kind of thing? Why is that? You know, it's a strange one. It's just a strange one. It really is. And then, you know, then it kind of it picks up again. You know, they're in the car. They're going to be, you know, it's more contained, and then it was just really enjoyable again. And they were going. They had some plans to go somewhere, and then back, you know, in the daytime, and they see, of course, the son. You know, his doppelganger, the other version of him. You know, standing in the road. Of course, that scene there, and you know, I was thinking, here's the potential here. You know, maybe this kid. Considering maybe the humanity or the innocence that he had in that scene when he was playing with his, you know, his actual the real life version, you know, they were doing the tricks and stuff, and then there was kind of a way about him that could different to the kind of the other members, you know, of this you know, these people that were terrorizing him, of course, the doppelgangers, and then I was thinking maybe he could have joined them or something like that, but then it's just a very predictable kind of moment where, of course, as we know, it's a trap, you know, and of course, it just, once again after that, you know, the family split up, and then she goes into the fun house, and that's the final act. You know, she's the locations I didn't care for too much on the ground, and you know, it just the reveal here. You know, this is the thing, the reveal of the film. I just don't really connect to this too much. You know, I think very strange. I just kind of thought, why is that? You know, why did that happen? Very interesting, and definitely very different. But why? You know, why is this happening? There was a switch, of course. You know, what I gathered, you know, the switch happened when she was, you know, a kid, and then, you know, that actual version, the real life version, if you will, was underground all along, and she's the one that comes up to lead this kind of, you know, this kind of thing here, this plan, this overtaking. Why is that? You know, why is that? What is the point here? And I don't personally think it was explained and brought together in a way that I thought was that effective. And just in itself, you know, there's so much things that just aren't, you know, kind of, you know, it basically goes full on kind of exposition, a real lengthy 10-minute kind of explanation here right at the end of the film. But even then, you know, it's just so confusing. It's convoluted, you know, and just stuff that when I found out, I was kind of thinking, okay, that's what happened there, you know. And I was kind of just questioning it more, you know, and I was just thinking, why is this, you know, why are they still at the end? They're all still standing there, you know. This is just going to be, oh, they're going to take over and stuff. But you know, it just didn't make much sense to me, you know. And just how did she then? This other version just forget until then, you know, how she was. There's so many things, you know, that just had me, you know, the more and more I tried to uncover every single moment of what happened here, the more, you know, I kind of just thought, you know, I don't really care for that, you know, the reveal and the whole kind of way it came together too much. But, you know, I think the acting is the thing that is so strong throughout, you know, from the main cast, and the first act, the first 45 minutes is absolutely amazing. You know, especially when, you know, up until the point where they were kind of dispersing, and there's loads of killings. That is just great. It's great filmmaking. It's great, surprising modern horror thriller filmmaking. It really was great, and I loved it. You know, and there was peaks after that which I loved again, or really liked. But you know, overall, I think it just comes down to a good film because of that. You know, because there's stuff. I don't think there's any points that I hate, you know, segments, but there's a couple of moments I just really didn't respond to the whole reveal. That's the thing. That's the thing I really don't like, is the reveal. But it's just, and I kind of understand most of it, but and then I don't, because I just understand why that happened, kind of thing. Very interesting film, but very frustrating. I think very. You could call it a challenging film, but for me it was just a bit of more of a frustrating experience, because I was so invested. That's the thing. Maybe that's a good sign, because I was so invested, and when it kind of went ways I didn't kind of think it would. And, it's not that. It's just the fact that I didn't connect to the whole way it planned out. I think the reveals itself, just the overall, the tone as well, and the locations, and just the way that last act, last 20 minutes or so played out, I didn't really like too much. But yeah, and it's just a film that really, just as an overall experience, the consistency, is up and down, and the overall investment and my care for these characters and what was going to happen within the narrative, and stuff, just it did dip. It didn't ever really recover to the point of the first 40 minutes, and how I was just kind of enthralled by this piece of filmmaking. Well, it wasn't a masterpiece then. It was great stuff here. I really loved it, and that's it's one of the reasons why I was disappointed. But yeah, it's a problematic film, and I think I can understand how it's very divisive. For me, it's a good film. I can't give it more than that, but it is still unique. It's its own twist. It's definitely not a film like one I've seen before. But that only goes so far, because my investment in the film was up and down, and definitely it turned into a thing at times I didn't, I don't like as much. Kind of this type of slasher, anyway, and just I mean, I'm open to seeing a slasher and loving a slasher, but most of them I don't love, personally, and this did at times feel like one, and just. I can't say I loved seeing all these, for at least 20 minutes, all these other people getting killed, and stuff, and the friends of the family, of course, the way they got killed and stuff, and it was just, it was kind of well made at times and stuff, even endpoints, but it's not something I responded to that well. But so overall, a good film, but really, really problematic, this one. It was definitely a challenging experience for me, because I loved it, and then I didn't, and then I kind of did at times again, and then it went down again, and it's just kind of frustrated me within the twists and turns it had. But I think the opening, the text that comes off about the subways and stuff, was we meant to be surprised when they were, that was what the whole kind of thing was. I don't really see the choice of putting that in there as well, but it's definitely a kind of experience that I found difficult at times, but overall I liked it, because I can't deny how much I loved the first 40 minutes of the film, which is a big chunk, of course, a third of the film, and parts after this as well. I really enjoyed, and I think the acting, that's the thing that really bumps it up overall. It really is great acting, especially from Lupita. She is great in this film, as a protagonist. Adelaide, really, really great, and I think this character still, it's definitely an interesting, compelling character, even considering the twist. But yeah, it just it'd be interesting on a rewatch, but it's just not a film I love. I have to admit it. It's not just that I didn't, that it was kind of doing different things, and the reveals and stuff had me kind of, bewildered, kind of thing. Just kind of surprised in a way that I thought, kind of thing. But it's because I just, when it was revealed, and the way it was done, I just thought, that's not something that I really enjoyed, in that sense. And the way it came together, I think, is definitely not really for me too much, really. And just I don't think this film ever really recovered to the heights, for me, of that really standout opening 40-minute act. That first act of the film, it's just really great, and just really charming, full of heart and enjoyability. The humour was there, and just these characters. I don't think they were really ever developed too much after that, kind of thing. And apart from, of course, our main protagonist, but when it was developed, in different ways, stuff at times I didn't really like too much. So I think I'd have to give it, 75%. That's the number in my head that just seems right. It just disappointed me in the final act. It disappointed me when it went into this kind of slasher mode, kind of thing. Because it just wasn't the type of violence as well that I respond to too much. Just on this particular occasion, I just how I can't say I enjoyed moments of this. Yeah, it was just a shame, but really, it's a good film and I enjoyed it overall. Certainly, it's definitely a film I'd recommend. There's not a film like this coming out, at the moment. Certainly unique, and once again, at times when there is dialogue and stuff, it's definitely very impressive at times. The way these characters were built up and everything, and just the way the film's shot as well in these moments at the beginning and the flashbacks. I really think are great, and the editing at times as well. But it just kind of lost me in some moments, and the whole way it came together and what it was revealing. One, it didn't kind of impress me too much. Two, it was convoluted, and three, it still didn't kind of give me the things that I think the information I think was required when it was built up in this way. Just why for example why really did this character choose to do this, and for these killings to happen, and why the vice versa. It doesn't quite work for me, in all honesty. But a film can do that and then still be a good film. But just that reveal and the whole final act, this film overall is a disappointment a little bit. But I must say, as I have said, that opening act, just overall the film, it's impressive. It's well made, of course. It's unique. It's interesting. Thought provoking. Whatever you think of the film, you will have a reaction to it. And the acting is great. Great acting from the main characters. Not so much from some of the side characters elsewhere, but the main cast. Really great. Child performances as well. Really great stuff. And the use of music, maybe I didn't like too much. But yeah, it's just overall, a well-made film, and just unique one, and one that I liked the film, and I'd probably I'd have to see what I think again on a rewatch, but I can't say I love this film. It's just but I do like the film, and a positive score from me. But maybe not what I expected. I expected much better film than this overall. Very inconsistent. The structure of the film is just very strange. It's like the final act is most of the film, and then it's not, and then it is. But Us, there's not a negative score. Just it really threw me off track quite a bit. Not in a way that's kind of in a positive way, but in a way that's kind of just frustrating. And why did this happen? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? Why the switch was fine, and the way that the family are got other versions, but why has the whole world got other? That's the thing that kind of it was trying to be a disaster kind of film here, and a kind of big global event, but then it was really, I think it was best when it was more of a personal, focused on this family, this really compelling family, some great stuff here, and then it ventured off, into different ways, and it was just kind of all over the place most of the time, but a fine film, a good film. I enjoyed it, but it also at the same time frustrated me, but if you respond to the film like this, it's definitely doing something, because to be disappointed in the character arcs and stuff, but being really attached to it at first, that's it hooked me in, and then kind of went off. But I did respond to the film, and it's definitely a good film, from Jordan Peele. So yes, tell me your thoughts in the comments. It'd be interesting to see. As always, this is my opinion, and I don't speak, of course, for everyone. I think it'd be really interesting to see your thoughts on this, and how it maybe compares to Get Out. Natural comparisons will be made, but I definitely think Get Out is a masterpiece, and much better than this. But this is definitely interesting as well. So yes, be interested to see your thoughts, in the comments. Very interesting film, and the 4K, is definitely very good. Not one of the best 4Ks I've seen, but yes, very good 4K here. And yes, as always, thanks for watching my review.